Hello, moms! Hello, everyone! This is my video report. For today's topic is all about historical context. This is my focus questions. First is, who are Lumads and Moras? The second is, who are Lumad in the Philippines? The third is, what the Lumad are fighting for. Now, let's proceed for our topic or discussions. Historical context. The Spanish crown, by virtue of colonization, claimed rights over the islands and the authority to dispose of the land. Later, the U.S. authorities institutionalized their legal powers to dispose of all land and voided all the previous lands granted by Moro or Lumad chiefs, as well as others throughout the Philippines that had been made without government's consent. Only individuals or corporations could registered private claims to land ownership. All lands in the Philippines archipelago were treated as lands of the Spanish crown under the Jora Regalia Doctrine. By the 19th century, new Spanish land laws were governing lands in the Philippines. The U.S. colonial government kept the Regalian Doctrine and implemented a series of land laws to govern the so-called public lands, previous lands of the Spanish Crown. Sa pamamagitan ng pagsisikap ng mga lumad ng Mindanao and their supporters among the lowland Christian Filipino community, Moro and Lumad are indigenous to the Philippines islands of Mindanao, with Muslim Moros outnumbering largely animist Lumads. Sabi dyan, Lumads throughout the Philippines that have been without government consent. Wala silang mga karapatan for the land sa mga government or without government consent. Dito, pinag-uusapan natin ang mga land or lupa ng mga lumad na kinuha sa kanila. And only individuals or corporation could register private claims to land ownership. Yung pwede lang daw mag-register is yung mga private claims to land ownership. Mga individual or corporation. And then, next is two important provisions were written into the 1987 Constitution. First is Article XII or 12.5 obliges the state to protect the rights of indigenous cultural communities to their ancestral lands to ensure their economic, social, and cultural well-being. To protect para protektahan ang mga karapatan ng mga indigenous cultural communities. And then, para maprotektahan din yung mga to ensure their economic, social, and cultural well-being. While, the second is Article XIV, 17, commits the state to recognize, respect, and protect the rights of indigenous cultural communities to preserve and develop their cultures, tradition, and institution. Nangako ang mga estado na dapat igalang or protektahan ang mga karapatan ng mga indigenous cultural communities. Dapat kailangan din natin silang igalang and protektahan sa mga nang-aapi sa kanila. In the government, nangako ang mga estado na poprotektahan sila. Kaya binigyan sila ng rights. The next is, however, the states also continue to maintain rights to land and national development policies continue to shape by powerful economic interests and political forces. The Lumad continue to seek the return of lands taken from the true harassment and illegal manipulation and seek the revolution of all plantation permits and logging concessions. Patuloy na hinahangad ng mga lumad to return of lands na kinuha sa kanila sa pamamagitan ng mga harassment and illegal manipulation and seek the revolution of all plantation permits and logging concessions. They sought self-government within their ancestral lands, within their customary laws, and the preservation of their indigenous cultures. And all of these matters, the Lumads faced in uphill battle. Humarap ang mga Lumad sa patas na laban. In the same year, the Indigenous People Rights in Act 1997 was adopted with a National Commission on Indigenous People or NCIP established under the legislation. What are Lumads fighting for? With the government's continuous neglect of the indigenous people rights, the Lumads has learned to organize themselves to protect their ancestral lands and culture against land grabbing of big landlords and mining conglomerates. And then Lumads is pinaglalaban nila yung karapatan nila sa lupa, lands, para bigyan sila ng lands ng malaya, and then to protektahan sila kasi, and then dapat igalang, and then kasi ang Lumads ang daming pinagdaanan like harassment and illegal manipulation and seek revocation. Kahit hindi naman dapat ganon. And kahit indigenous is wala din iba sa atin, wala silang iba sa atin. And yun lang, ang naiiba is mas gusto nilang mamuhay sa kagubatan or basta yung mapuno, ganon. Kahit ganon is protektahan natin sila. Hindi natin dapat silang iano na iba kasi tao din naman sila. And then yun, ang dami nang pinagdaanan, but yun, ang mga Lumad is yung pinaglaban nila yung karapatan nila. And then yun, binigyan sila ng rights. That's all. Sana marami kayong natutunan sa akin. And then sana naintindihan niyo yung discussion ko. That's all. Thank you for your attention. Thank you, ma'am. God bless.